Good day, my I Choose shakers and movers. How y'all doing out there? I hope that you are well, and I hope that everything is going the way you saw it, the way you planned it, the way you hoped it to go. I'm officially back at work this week, and I'm excited. A lot has transpired, but I'm still here. Um, I wanted to talk to you briefly about a conversation that I had, and it kind of stuck with me for a little bit. So I was talking to one of my sisters, and um, she was talking about having a fear of seeing the school call. And when she saw the school call, she said she began to panic. And so we talked about that a little bit. And I began to share with her my personal experience a few years back with my son. Um, his very outgoing, outspoken, mom-like personality was getting him trips to the office quite often. And at one point, I began to panic when I saw the school call. And the first thing I would say is, oh my gosh, what did he do? And oh my gosh, I hope I don't have to come get him. And at this point, I didn't have my own business. So I was working for an agency. And as you guys know, you just can't keep taking off on work. And that just brings so much stress and anxiety. And so what happens is, believe it or not, trauma is created through that experience. Remember before I said trauma is anything that disrupts a natural flow in your life. Okay. And so I'll just transition and use myself. So every time that I got a phone call from the school, because it had disrupted the flow of my life so much, I began to panic. So what did I do? I trained my brain to panic when I saw the school's number show up on my phone. So what the brain does, because it's so awesome, it literally goes in the file cabinet when it sees that number and hands you panic. Here you go, panic, right? What we have to do is learn to retrain the brain, right? And how you retrain it is you remove the thing that has been consistent there and replace it with something else. What do I mean? Okay, this is what I mean. I'm so glad you asked. So for example, for me, because I love to use me for an example. So for me, panic was there. That emotion was there. So I needed to remove panic, and I replaced it with another P, which is called peace. So because I'm a believer, what I started doing, I have anchor scriptures for certain things, right? And for me, Romans 8:28 serves me well, because it doesn't matter what situation comes my way, I know that it's going to work for my good. So for those who don't know, Romans 8:28 says, and we know that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and called according to his purpose. And for me, I meet those prereqs. So it's just like school. I meet those prereqs, so I qualify for the working for my good. This is, listen, let's not do that. This is what works for me. If a scripture does not work for you, then don't use the scripture. Find something else to anchor you. Okay. If another scripture other than the one that I have, Romans 8:28, does not work for you, by all means, do not use it. Find another one. This is for me. Okay. So back to the story. So what I start doing, first, let me tell you what I was doing, right? Where trauma had started. I would see the number and go, oh my gosh, what has this boy done? Oh goodness. And so what I did was I had already kickstarted my panic, and it was mine because I took ownership. So after going through therapy and all the healing and process that I needed to go through, because it was really starting to affect me, is that I learned that I needed to take out that file that my brain has and put another file in. So what I would do is, when that phone rung, I went immediately to my anchor scripture, and I will look at it and I will say, and we know that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and called according to his purpose. Roz, you meet those prereqs, therefore you are qualified for this to work for your good. And then I will follow it with, declaring. And I will say, I decree and declare peace to be bind to me. And I pick up the phone. So now already my mindset is different. I'm at peace and I'm ready for whatever they give me because it's already worked out. And so we talk and I say, okay, do you need me to come in? Is there anything that I can do to resolve it from where I am? And then we'll talk about it and we go from there. So I am challenging you. Now, most of you may not even have this problem, right? But if you do, you can use this. And if you don't, you can kind of use it with something else in your life that may have created some trauma. So if this applies to you, then how I want you to start working on it, just like I told my good friend, I want you to start, if you get a phone call 5 times out of the day, 2 times out of the day, I want you to find your anchor scripture and declare your peace with those phone calls before you pick them up. Okay. And it doesn't matter what the phone calls are. We're just getting the practice in, because remember, practice does not make perfect, but it sure does make masters. So we want to master this. We want to retrain our brain. Okay. And we want to create peace instead of panic. All right. I hope this helps. I had someone to send something in my, I guess it's called DM, about some different topics. So keep them coming. Keep sending me different topics that you want to hear, or you want to get my opinion on, or you can just put it right below on whatever social media that I tag this video in. Okay. All right. It's real good to be back. I feel really good. Listen, y'all know what we do around these parts. We stay free.